is the gay cake case? What's it all about? I'm going to take you through it. One of the things that's important to understand about this case is the geography and history of Northern Ireland, and I'm no expert, but this is what I know. Great Britain and the United Kingdom are not the same thing. Great Britain relates to the island of England, Wales and Scotland, and the United Kingdom relates to England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales all combined. And the reason for this is due to, like, historically we occupied Ireland, we as in the Norman Anglo-Saxon English, the 12th century occupied Ireland, which obviously wasn't very nice. And then I think it was like in the 17 something, England and Scotland became Great Britain. Wales has always sadly been colonised as well. And then it was like in the 1800 something where we formalised that we became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, the whole of Ireland. And then it was in 1922 that the Republic of Ireland seceded, so it became an independent republic, and there were just 6 counties left in the north, which became Northern Ireland. So it became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
So the population of the country in the different regions is different, and in Northern Ireland we have a far more devout population than in other parts of the country, where around late 50s, 60% of the population identify as Christian. In Northern Ireland, 93% of the population are Christian, 48% of them are Protestant, and 45% are Catholic. In contrast, in England, 60% of the population are Christian, and between 30 and 44% of the population of England, Scotland and Wales are not religious, contrasting with only 6% of the population in Northern Ireland. It's a much more religious area of the country.
So you've got a very, very religious, very Christian population, strongly Catholic, strongly Protestant, who both have their sets of moral precepts, and the religious objections to equal marriage were given far more weight in Northern Ireland than they were in the rest of the country. The political mix there reflects these very strongly held opinions. So when equal marriage became law in Great Britain, I refer you back to the map that Great Britain isn't the same thing. It didn't become law until it was ratified by the Northern Irish Assembly, which didn't happen until I think 2018, so it was much later. And during that time there was lots and lots of campaigning in order to institute the same rights to equal marriage in Northern Ireland that people had throughout the United Kingdom. So, the gay cake case. It started out in 2015, and Ash's Bakery was making and decorating cakes quite happily, and somebody came in and they wanted a cake to celebrate the first openly gay mayor in Northern Ireland and to push for the case for equal marriage in Northern Ireland. So it was still in the time period where equal marriage was legal in Great Britain, but it wasn't yet legal in Northern Ireland. So there was lots and lots of activism from lesbian, gay and bisexual people who were attempting to institute the same right to equal marriage in Northern Ireland. So he wanted a cake to be produced with an image of Bert and Ernie on it, and say, you know, marriage equality, and also put a logo of a local LGBT organisation that he was a member of. The people that ran the bakery, evangelical Christian couple, who were very opposed to the idea of equal marriage on the basis of a biblical interpretation that marriage was solely a heterosexual affair. They believed that whereas they were happy to serve this customer, they were not happy to produce decorate a cake with a political message that they disagreed with so strongly. So the customer took the case to the Equalities kind of Commission in Northern Ireland, again, slightly different legally than the rest of the UK. And they kind of looked at the balance of different equalities law, and they found in favour of the customer and said that they should have made this cake for him and decorated this cake for him. And they awarded him £500 in damages.
We've always been happy to serve any customers that come into our shops. The ruling suggests that all business owners will have to be willing to promote any cause or campaign, no matter how much they disagree with it.
So this couple, they decided that they weren't going to pay this £500, they were going to take it to the Supreme Court. And they did that, and the Supreme Court judgment came down in like 2018, and it found the opposite. It found that the balance wasn't quite right, and it was a unanimous decision, which doesn't happen very often. So this tends to be, this tends to show that the case law is pretty sound, because, you know, all 5 High Court judges are agreeing on it. And they found that whereas the customer was gay, he wasn't being discriminated against on the basis of being gay. What he was asking them to do was infringing on their freedom of expression. So it was kind of balancing different human rights that we've all got. So obviously Mr. Lee, the activist that had ordered the cake, wasn't happy about this decision, and this is why he took the case to Strasbourg.
Provision.
I think Northern Ireland, I'm a second-class citizen, and that's unfortunate, but I feel that that's the case. We don't have the same rights in Northern Ireland as gay people as we do in the rest of the United Kingdom.
So what's Strasbourg got to do with it? Well, although we have Brexited, which means we've left our friends in the European Union and we're striking out bravely on our own into the sunlit uplands. So although we are striking out on our own, we are still signatories to the European Convention on Human Rights, and this means that the Strasbourg European Court of Human Rights still gets a say on whether or not our national courts are in line with the convention that we signed. So this court isn't the kind of court that can put you in prison. It doesn't kind of punish people. What it does is it sets down judgments that the national government is supposed to take account of. So he took this case to Strasbourg and asked them to decide whether or not his national government had fully protected his rights when they made this Supreme Court decision, which went against what he wanted. And the Strasbourg court has decided that they're not going to hear his case. And the reason why is that when he made the arguments in his national courts, he made arguments based on his sexuality and was he being discriminated against for being gay. When he went to Strasbourg, he made the argument that they were impeding his freedom of expression. So he was using a different argument, and the national governments and the Supreme Court and the lower court, the Equalities Commission, they hadn't had the chance to adjudicate on the basis that he then took the case to Strasbourg. So he's asking them to judge something which hasn't been prejudged at a lower court, which means that they won't adjudicate it. So they have thrown that out. So what does this mean? What does this mean for lesbian and gay people primarily? Well, it means that you cannot go to a bakery and force them to write a message on a cake that they disagree with. This means that if you wanted to get something written on a cake which was very controversial or slanderous, perhaps it would be difficult to find someone to decorate a cake. I don't know, get some icing and do it yourself, I would say. Does it mean our freedom is impeded? I mean, we are not, the judgment was that he was never discriminated against on the basis of sexuality. That's the first thing. So that was accepted, that he wasn't discriminated on the basis of his sexuality. It was about the conflict of rights between his freedom of expression of his political beliefs and the political beliefs of the people who were decorating the cake, his freedom of conscience, their freedom of religion. It was all a big balancing mix. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but what I take from this is that we can't be forced into producing something with a political opinion that we don't agree with. I think this is a good thing. I think it means that, for instance, if you were to want to produce an item of clothing that had, you know, like a really offensive slogan on it that was abusive towards women, and you came to a woman-owned business and you said you wanted them to print this t-shirt for you with this dreadful slogan, the business owner would be able to refuse that offer and would be able to say, I'm sorry, but could you find someone else to produce that? The flip side of this, of course, is what happens if we want to produce goods and bearing a political message, and the company we want to work with invokes their freedom of expression and their freedom of conscience and says that they're not prepared to work with us. And I think this is a risk. I think this is something that we need to have more clear guidance from the lawyers on. But I think that what this means is that every business has got the right to decide whether or not to produce a commercial item with a political message on. So you can't force someone to produce something that you think is right, and they can't force you to produce something that they think is right. I mean, I think this is okay, because I believe that it is important that we do have both freedom to believe and freedom to not believe in something, whether it's a religious cause or a political cause. I hope my explanation has been helpful. I'm sure I've got important things wrong. If I have, I do apologise. I did some research. I tried to fact check all of the things that I've said in this video. If I've made any mistakes, I'm deeply sorry, and I will welcome your corrections in the comments.
The Muslim printer does not have to print cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. The lesbian who runs her own t-shirt firm does not have to do t-shirts criticising same-sex marriage. And for Christians too, today's ruling is a reminder that their free speech rights are protected as well.
Thanks for watching my content. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I'm trying to crank out these videos and it's great to know that you're watching them. Do please leave me a like or a dislike if you like, and I'll see you again soon.